Hi, we're Growing on Cloud. My name is Monika Seyfried.
And I'm Cyrus, Clarke.
And we're STARTS residents running the urban data forest in the city of Den Haag. We're looking at the landscape of 2050 city of Den Haag when we're trying to explore the technology of how we could start storing data in forests, in plants, and use it in the city. So how can we create this new kind of biological environments within the city of Den Haag where people could come in and download different types of data literally from the trees in the city. So we're thinking about two types of urban data forests. One is the Breathing Museum, is where you come in and you can experience more top-level national type of data. Is concentrated on the cultural experience when we're thinking about archiving most important data that are coming from the Den Haag, such as important documents and art. The other one, the forest that we're thinking about, is called Living Archives. This one works more as a allotment garden in a way. So citizens are invited to, in that future, to come in and almost like rent a space where they can store their own data and take care of it in the forest.
When we saw the name of the call about reimagining city nature, we found it really the most appropriate way for us to continue our journey, because it would allow us on one side to explore the implications of the technology on a much larger scale in the city, but also to realize this kind of dream we've been having since the beginning of the project, which has always been, what would it be like if we could bring data back to the city and also bring nature back to the city in the sense of bringing a data forest to an urban space. And particularly in the context of the Netherlands, it's a really interesting case where nature has been not just removed from the city, but almost entirely removed from the country itself. And so for us, it's just an incredibly interesting setting to develop our work further.
As part of the Urban Data Forest, we're working with a bunch of different stakeholders, starting from urban designers and trying to figure out where in the city we could place this type of forests, what type of species we could actually work with, calculating how much data we can store in them, what kind of environmental impact they could have, and then thinking about societal kind of impact this technology could have on the city.
We also spoke to people in Den Haag about the data archival process. So we met with people working in the archives here, and that was really informative to understand the kinds of jobs people have and the hierarchies and structures, and how that could be reimagined in a future data forest.
The most exciting thing for this project, and I think why we also wanted to work on it, was to think about a very futuristic technology in a very macro scale, and working with architects and urban designers, which is something that is within my field, to try and understand what is the process of deploying that technology within the city. I think that process and things we've learned are just completely new to us and very, very fascinating, and definitely will contribute to the further development of our work.
Our future aspiration for the Urban Data Forest project right now is to serve as a kind of vision for what Grow Your Own Cloud could lead to. So this is something that is set relatively far into the future in terms of the technology and the applications, the usability, all of the aspects that we cover in the project are relatively far into the future, a few decades away. So I think for us, it's kind of like a North Star that we're aiming at, that we can introduce to people and say, well, Grow Your Own Cloud is trying to get here, and it's going to take a lot of steps to get to the Urban Data Forest, but it's a kind of way to showcase that vision and then build like incremental steps to get there.
It's obviously a very speculative technology and quite of a future-thinking vision. And I think what I see throughout this process is how these ideas can actually reach the general public and push for better, greener, like actual solutions for the city. So I would just say that I'm really glad that Urban Data Forest is hitting that spot where it's showcasing a certain type of future, but it also really is talking about ecological changes and why we need more nature in the city in that new, quirky way. And I think this project is achieving that, which we're extremely happy about.